Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with a recap and analysis of the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-10 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 3. Pittsburgh 3-0, they remain undefeated. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. Let's get this out of the way. Those who heard my prediction video, I was wrong for the first time this year. I picked the Chargers to win, and I was definitely wrong about that, and so kudos to Pittsburgh for proving me wrong, and I am a good jinx or curse, I guess, in a positive direction, so I'll try to pick against Pittsburgh more often going forward. So, really impressed with this one. I think this win, and you probably agree it's not that crazy of a thought, but this is the most impressive win Pittsburgh has had of the three because, A, they faced the best team they faced, even though Justin Herbert was hobbled and ultimately exited the game, but just how they won it. While Pittsburgh didn't have amazing and super efficient rushing success in their first 2 weeks, they were much better running the ball consistently throughout than they were for 3/4 of this one, where they could not run the ball a lick, and yet they still were able to win despite not really playing the exact style of football they wanted to. There was attempts to run, they couldn't get going, and they really had to kind of throw more on first down, put the game more in Justin Fields' hands, and they still walk away with victory, their first 2-score win of the season. So that was really impressive to kind of win with, in a sense, one hand tied behind your back, in part because Pittsburgh sometimes tied that hand behind their back themselves, but still, the run game at halftime had 14 yards, and you're sitting there going, man, they can't run the ball. It's going to be really hard to win this game. And they ran the ball late and kind of lost the battles early to win the war, really wore down the Chargers and was able to grind out that fourth quarter. The Pittsburgh has been really good in the fourth quarter this year, been really impressed. I got to put some numbers together on that against Atlanta. They dominate time of possession, a similar story here against the Chargers. So offensively, Najee Harris running so angry. He's really running, I think, even a tier above his past years in terms of the power and anger he's running. It may not translate into overwhelming numbers in production. You see the stats, 18 carries, 70 yards, but he had to create some of those holes himself because they weren't there for him for large parts of this game. And so he's a guy that, ran angry and has done it in the past and left off last year running super hard, but I think even maybe taking that to a different level this year. Cordell Patterson doing the same late. That was, him at receiver was an adventure that I don't want to go down and visit again, but as a running back, this guy's look really spry for being 33 years old. He's got fresh legs overall, so happy he was able to contribute. Jalen Warren got dinged late, and Tomlin pulled him. Of course, you got to talk about Justin Fields. I thought this was Fields' best game. They were able to utilize the middle of the field, and I said that in my preview and prediction video. They would utilize middle of the field more. Chargers play more zone coverage. They play more two high shells. There'd be more real estate available there. And Frymouth got more involved. And Calvin Austin, tip of the cap to Calvin Austin for some big time plays over the middle. One for a big first down. I think it was 3rd and 15 they converted. And then, of course, the 55-yard touchdown, Pittsburgh's biggest play of the season. Great read, great throw, great yak by Austin. And you knew once he got in open grass one-on-one, no one's catching that guy. His speed is legitimate. He's a legit 4.3 kind of a guy, and he's maintained that speed despite his injury his rookie season. So kudos to him. He's worked really hard, and that was great to see Pittsburgh win in some different ways. Fields, I just thought, saw things well, read things well, was smart with the football. Still, the interception, maybe a late throw. I don't know. He took blame for it, but it was a fluky play, obviously bouncing around the way that it bounced around into Bud Dupree's hands of all people, the ex-Steeler. Fields providing the first touchdown for Pittsburgh in this game off that read option, the run threat that he's able to bring, and just being able to still play within the scheme and play within his game despite not having that run game he could lean on and playing from behind a little bit at times, a position Pittsburgh has not normally been in. They weren't trailing in the fourth quarter and super late or anything, but early on just kind of not really able to get into rhythm for this offense. It was painful early offensively, so it was nice to see this offense come out of their shell and kind of put points on the board, which they've been close to getting but lacking throughout the first 2 weeks and really 2.5 weeks if you include the first half of this game. Just other quick notes, top of my head. O-line, another rotation at left guard. Spencer Anderson started, was the guy the majority of the first half, and then Mason McCormick came in for the last two series. They would rotate to some extent in the second half. McCormick got some tackle-eligible work as well. I think it was with the intent of trying to get more of a push and a spark up front. Haven't heard Mike Tomlin be asked about why they had a rotation there. hopefully Isaac Seumalo can come back against the Colts. If not, we'll see what Pittsburgh's posture is going forward. Broderick Jones wasn't perfect, got beat around the edge and pass pro on one play action that forced Fields to check down, but I thought Jones seemed to do okay. That's a tough matchup facing Khalil Mack. I know the Bosa went down, and so that limited the Chargers kind of having both of their guys, but still, you take it. And I think overall, Pittsburgh was pretty clean operationally, which was, of course, great to see. I don't think there was any snap issues at all in this game, which there were in the first 2 weeks. So that's progress, and playing at home and not being on a silent count helps and all that kind of stuff. But progress here for the offense, even if it took until the second half to really feel it. Oh, I should mention, just to kind of get my perspective, and it's probably obvious, and my whole posture's been that if it's clear and obvious, you stay with Fields, and to me, it's clear and obvious. It's Justin Fields. Russell Wilson is not like he's played and has something kind of banked in that you can go back to where you saw Wilson in a Steelers uniform. Of course, he's got a long resume and the Super Bowls and all that, but in Pittsburgh, there's nothing to really go off of. And so with the way Fields is playing, you're 3-0, you can't bench the guy. And I'd be shocked if Fields was sat for this Colts game. Defensively, what more can you say about this defense? And yeah, Herbert left, but it wasn't like he was lighting Pittsburgh up before he went down. They got the one big play, the 27-yard touchdown to Quentin Johnston. I don't know if that was blown coverage. I don't think I would categorize it as blown coverage. I want to go back and watch it a time or two in the All-22. I got one top-down view watching the broadcast live. I think Pittsburgh, they were in cover 2, and they were trying to hide their coverage and disguise it, and Minka couldn't get off the numbers, or the hash, I should say, really in time, and Herbert threw it pretty early, and there's really no way Minka could really defend that. So it was just a good play by the Chargers. Porter's in the flat. That's his responsibility. I wouldn't call it a blown coverage, but Pittsburgh ran, I think, the same call or something very similar on 4th down against Denver in week 2, and that was a hole open, and Denver converted. So maybe scrap that nickel blitz and cover 2 look, because I don't think it's working too well. But again, other than that, Dobbins had success early. They popped a couple runs, but that Pittsburgh tackled really well. You got to tackle guys like Dobbins so they're not ripping 10-yard runs and the 30, 40-yard runs, which Dobbins has a pair of 40-yard, I think, touchdowns or at least long runs this year. I thought just collectively, whether that was Patrick Queen or Dante Jackson, tackled really well on him, on Hayden Hurst. Little guys have to tackle. That's what Mike Tomlin says. Big guys have to run. Kind of felt that overall in this game. So for a Chargers team that ran the ball at will, they had 20 carries for 61 yards, 3.1 yards per carry, long of 13. Looking at the stats right now, Dobbins had 2.9 yards per carry, and Pittsburgh tightened things up there after a little bit of leakage in the first half. But Dobbins, who was averaging 10 yards per carry in the first 2 weeks, was certainly cooled off in this game. So 10 points allowed to the Chargers. Pittsburgh, the first team since the 2009 Broncos to hold their opponent to 10 points or less in their first 3 games to begin a season. So Pittsburgh really just at a crazy pace right now. The Chargers lost their tackles. Pittsburgh lost some guys too, but Herbert comes in, 2 sacks, big plays there. Cam Hayward, just fantastic game, man. His run defense, so steady, so good. That's why I was still optimistic and wanted Pittsburgh to extend Hayward, and happy that they did. I think people are seeing that now. Hayward gets a sack as well. TJ Watt gets a sack. They get 5 sacks on the day. Some missed opportunities, sure. Patrick Queen should have had an interception. Highsmith missed a sack on the same play, but overall, man, you're holding teams at 10 points. Even for this offense that is not exactly, the most prolific offense in football, that's going to get you victories, and that's why Pittsburgh is 3-0. Special teams, I thought Corliss Waitman did a nice job at punter. James Pierre, nice job at gunner, forcing fair catches. Calvin Austin, decent job in the return game. No penalties that I can think of, which is rare, but good. Take it. A couple on the Chargers end, which was a nice change. Boswell, tried from 62. I think he had the leg, didn't have the quite the accuracy, but hard to fault him, obviously. Still 2 field goals for him. And a nice kickoff, too, that helped get a little knuckleball that the Chargers couldn't field cleanly, and it backed them up, and some good coverage by guys like Rodney Williams and DeMarvin Leal and others. And so I thought field position, Pittsburgh was generally at the advantage in this one. So those are my quick thoughts. Pittsburgh 3-0. It's great to be 3-0, man. I know the conventional wisdom was the back half of the schedule was harder than the front half, and that is probably true, facing the AFC North and the Eagles and Chiefs, all games you can reasonably expect still to be difficult, but this front half and the front, quarter was not easy either. 2 on the road facing the Chargers, and Pittsburgh to come out 3-0, kind of winning in slightly different ways, still the same overall philosophy, playing great defense, taking care of the football, but This one felt a little bit different in terms of the pass game opening up and more on Fields' plate, and he responded, and so that was great to see. Tough win, not easy. This was a physical game. The Chargers came out hitting. I mean, James and all their guys were popping pads, and Pittsburgh gave it right back. And Pittsburgh, they sprinted to the finish line. The Chargers limped, and that was the difference. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys listening. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.